Alright. Ignore a little bit of the noise. I say at least thank you to Tzvi, because Tzvi called me Erev Shabbos last week to ask me if I would speak. There was been a whole lot of stuff going on inside the media, and depending on the news, whether I want it out there or not want it out there, that's what helps me decide whether or not I turn on or off my phone for the week, you know. So my phone was off. He said he'd been calling me all week, so I said, okay, since you caught me Erev Shabbos, then Nisa comes. This is not a shiur. This is a shmooze. Shmooze will have sikus chaver, maybe even shiur you could get from a rav. So I'm a pashut yid. So get a shmooze. Rebbeinu tells us in Sichos Aran, and even in Chaim Aran, when it was first brought about the era and time of what we are to expect before Mashiach comes. One of the things that Rebbeinu tells us that before Mashiach comes, there will be kefira, atheism, bullying. It's going to spread all throughout the whole entire world, unlike it's ever been in any other time. What Rebbeinu reveals later on in Sichos Aran is the anecdote to this kefira. What's the anecdote? The anecdote is that Hashem, also before the coming of Mashiach, is going to raise up tzaddikim, mashpim, people that are going to go out and scream towards Kollel Yisrael only on Uman. There'll be no pilpul, there'll be no shiurim and Baba Kama. Tzaddikim are going to go out and scream only on Uman. And in fact, they're going to scream so loud and so much that their voices are going to go out from them screaming on Uman. Why? Because Rebbe already showed us that this is going to be the major chesed that we're going to be experiencing before the coming of Mashiach. And there are many different other tzaddikim that already, especially in this generation, that have come to reveal for us to some degree what the ikka component is, the ikka item or Indian that blocks us from being able to achieve tshuva, or to get out of our gullus. And that is, of course, Kedushas Abris. And how well a person is able to navigate within that item. And along with Kedushas Abris are also Shmir Senayim and other things that we do to prevent it. But the gullus that we find ourselves in today is one that comes from the fact that if we look at Kollel Yisrael on the main stage, we start looking at what we're dealing with in this world, intermarrying, they said is at 80%. I heard it was at 80% a long time ago, but they say it's at 80% or something like that in America. I'm very osek with the youth and all the other things, not only in Yerushalayim for sure, not I'm in the rest of the world probably more than I am in Yerushalayim. Not that my address is there, but my address is in Yerushalayim, but I'm in the rest of the world. I'm talking to these kids all the time. And there's definitely an issue with Kedushas Abris. But the ikka issue for me, the ikka problem, the bayah that we're dealing with today is not just this. It's the fact that people, plain and simply, don't know Hashem. We don't know who Hashem is. Understand? And there's already a capacity, a level to what a human being can understand and know Hashem. But even though, like with Shlomo HaMelech, this says a person needs to know Hashem in all his ways. In all of his ways. Meaning that a person needs to be bound up with Hashem, and Rebbeinu has already told us that the best way for a person to achieve this is through nothing other than his bodedus. And if we look at the time, if we look at Yetziat Mitzrayim, all right, what got us out of Mitzrayim? Hashem heard the outcry. He heard the cry of Kollel Yisrael. People were crying out to Hashem. It's not that now all of a sudden things are great and there's no gullus and all of a sudden. People stop crying. We simply stop crying. We don't realize what we're dealing with. We don't realize how what we're living in, all the different challenges that a person, all the bullying there in the world, that a person, that slowly but surely a person begins to be sucked into this vacuum of sheker, right? It's the alma de shikra, as the Zohar calls it. That this alma de shikra that we live in, all of a sudden, what's reality becomes to be twisted and it's backwards in a person. I was just talking to this about with my friend the other day. There was a young man that I met last year here in Uman, and he's such a special neshama, this kid, and whatever. So he's also in Yerushalayim, he's studying, and he had his own journey. And he came over before Sukkot, and we sat and we talked. And one of the things he told me, I've said everywhere that I've gone, because not only is it a great mashal, but it was something that hit me deep into my heart. He said that years ago, he was in a very severe car accident, and whatever happened in that car accident happened to leave him very brain dead for a long period of time. He was brain dead. So he told me he actually was able to experience what it was like to live life and not be able to communicate properly. He was aware completely of everything that was going on, but he couldn't speak. He had mental retardation for, I don't know, however many months that he had to go through in rehab or whatever. But he was fully able to understand, but he wasn't able to communicate. He wasn't able to function in a normal way. And he said, because of that, now I know what all these kids feel like. And I thought to myself after that, I said, it's the same thing that we experience every single day in Avodas Hashem. Right? We go through the motions, right? And then all of a sudden, a person, if he's really keen in, if he's really been able to taste Kedusha, and he was able to taste really having a true kesher to Hashem, the person, all of a sudden, sometimes he gets hit from this way and that way, and he crashes into this world of bilbulim, and he knows emes, but he allows himself to sit in sheker. And he sees everything going on around him, and he knows this is sheker, and he knows that inside this is not emes, but still he sits. And this is just like this boy. Well, mamash, he couldn't communicate, but he's watching everything around him. He completely can understand, but he's stuck. He's mamash stuck. So Nissim reveals to us in his Lakotei Halachot on Rosh Hashanah, he says on Rosh Hashanah, at least he opens up, that a person needs to cry out to Hashem from his place. From his place. And each and every single one of us had a different place. You could call it madrega, you could call it horizontally, we could be in a different place. Wherever the place is, a person needs to learn how to call out to Hashem from his place. We say every day that Hashem is close to all who call upon him in truth. So if a person wants to go out and he wants to go and talk to Hashem and he wants some type of geula, whatever, but he wants to go talk to Hashem on how he really wants to be, he wants to finish Shas this year, and he wants to, these other things. It's like, dude, you can't read Hebrew. This is not emes. You're not going out to Hashem from a place emes. Tell Hashem the real truth. Hashem, I'm struggling with Facebook. I'm struggling, Hashem, that I'm spending so much time on my computer, and really, I don't really know if I really have a cheshik to daven or to serve you at all. We call out to Hashem from our place. Hashem, people, if they knew really what I was looking at with my beard and my pants and how frum I look, and all of a sudden I'm davening, I come on Rosh Hashanah, now I'm going to be a tzaddik this year, and all of a sudden, Hashem, I'm stuck in Tumah. I have a beard and pants, but I love Hashem looking at things that I should not be looking at. I love hanging out with Chevro. I was just talking to my brother yesterday. We were having this discussion, A few guys have called us a few times and they get together, and one of the things he asked, it was a big tzaddik in Yerushalayim, I'm not going to say who, but he was a big tzaddik in Yerushalayim that, he was driving in a car with. So he says about the tzaddik, is like, so what does he do to chill? Everybody's into chilling these days. I don't know what it is. Every 5 seconds, I hear about this chill. I was by a chevra and they told me, the mikveh was big enough for everybody going. We should go have a mikveh chill. That's not something I'm very, not excited to go mikveh chilling with a bunch of other guys. God bless them. They can go mikveh chill. I'm not mikveh chilling. But everybody's at chill. So you ask the tzaddik over here, what does he do to chill? And I said to myself, I spend a lot of time by Rav Morgenstern also and Rav Tzvi, you know, that's like the thing. If anybody knows Motzei Shabbos, you could go bouncing back and forth between them. And I said, I highly doubt that these guys ever get together to just like have beer, you know, and watch a soccer game. All right? The reason why I say this, Chevra, is because when we look at all the Sifrei Kodesh, and we look at all the Eitzah that we're receiving from the Tzaddikim, like, we have to be honest with ourselves. How much time even in life do we have to even fulfill all of it, let alone have time to be sitting around hanging out doing shit? You don't have a wife, you don't have children. Okay, he's a single guy, he's a whatever, and he has a whatever, and he's got Chevra over there. But for sure, by the time a person is married with children, how much time do you have to chill? I don't understand. How much time you have to chill? And does your wife know you're chilling? I know some guys, they go to Kollel all day and get paid, and they chill inside the coffee room and talk all day long while the wife is at home, you know, changing 10 diapers. Who's got time to chill? What time to chill? The way out of the gullus is the way that it was the first time. When we were crying to get out of Mitzrayim, it's the same way that we get out of the gullus that we're in today. The only thing is that we haven't recognized that we're mamish sitting and battling all day long in Milchama Hayetzer. This is a fire mamish. And the same way for a kli, for a vessel that goes, and we know the same way that it's made b'tameh, the same way that we bring it to kashrus, is that once we realize that we have taivas, we're burning, and we have a fire that's going on, that's pulling us away from the emes, bringing us into the world of Sheker, it takes a fiery avoda to be able to pull a person out of it. And there's no greater fire, and there was no greater avoda that Rebbeinu revealed to us than his bodedus, that a person has to go, set time, and talk to Hashem every single day. There was no other geula. We're learning Torah more than we ever have in any generation. I'm sorry, Mashiach is not here. He's not. He hasn't got here yet. Just in case, maybe he has. I don't know. Maybe it hasn't come up on the. I don't watch the news, so maybe that's why I didn't see it. But the emes, we're learning Torah more than we ever have in any generation. More people are in yeshiva. There's more kiruv than it ever has been. The emes, and we can all blame the internet for the reason why people have it. They were just doing it for themselves. They were mamish all the time, sitting in seclusion, learning, davening, talking to Hashem, and going from level to level. And Rebbeinu is saying that here, I'm giving you mamish a present. I'm giving you a gift. You want to rise? You want to be amongst the Bnei Aliyah? You want to achieve what it is that Hashem put you in this world to achieve? You need to take this time every single day to go out and talk to Hashem. Find the room, find the field, go underneath the covers, all the different eitzes that Rebbeinu gives, and I can guarantee you that a person will find himself a Yeshua. I have to share a story. Most of the time, I'm talking to the boys. Every Shabbos, Baruch Hashem, I have the opportunity to host yeshiva baruch. I'm usually from Brisk or Mir, Yagdil, or whatever these boys come. About 30 boys every Shabbos, 30 35 boys, which ends up being like 50 people, because then I got brother-in-law, family, sister family, whatever. So we're all there. Usually different stories, but the Chavra is here is usually into sports. So everybody's either in the sports or the politics, and unfortunately, I don't know nothing about any of them anymore, right? So I don't know anything, you know. Most I know about Trump, whatever they're playing in the airport on the way on the flight or whatever, and that's usually something very liberal or whatever. But I don't know anything about, you know, either politics or sports or whatever. So the Rebbe, they start to tell me whatever. So I find out from there how my team's doing, how, you know, the whole thing from back in the day. So when they start to ask me, what is it? I don't understand. How can you stop like watching sports? How can you stop watching? I said I took one off season. That's a true story. For me, I realized that along with the blood pressure that it took from you watching your favorite team, you know what I mean? Every you know, especially those fourth quarters and it's close and all the other thing, you know. And then after a person he loses, then he really feels like, oh, it's chaval, I wasted my time, you know. So I realized for me, this was a big problem, you know. And it sort of was that way as I began to grow, and I started to really look at things, and I said, this is my own personal thing. I'm not advocating anybody else. You need to find for yourself what's a part of your path, what's not a part of your path. But I know for me personally, every time I sat after 4 hours of watching a game, football really was the big issue that I had, I feel like I just wasted my time. I felt like I'm doing something, and it could have been time. And I really noticed it one year like this. This is what happened. So I took an off season, and every day, that off season, maybe 10 minutes of my hour, whatever, I spent to Hashem, telling him, Hashem, help me not to watch football. I don't want to watch football anymore. Hashem, I'm crying, real tears. I was crying real tears to Hashem just to give up football because I felt like this was blocking my relationship with Hashem, watching football. And it so happened that Hashem gave me tremendous koach, and the next year I didn't watch a single game of my team. But then I had a big test. My team made it to the Super Bowl. I didn't watch a single game the whole entire year, and my team made it to the Super Bowl this year. And not only that, I was going through a lot of personal situations also too. I was homeless, mamish, and I had no idea, what I was going to do when the time came that the Super Bowl came. So the same day of the Super Bowl, I remember calling my Rebbe. I said, Rabbi Shmuel Brody, and we always talk, and he would give me a lot of chizik. And I called him, and I was just waiting for the Rebbe to say, Nissim, you can do it. That's all I needed to hear. Nissim, you can do it. You're not gonna, And
watch the game or not watch the game?
I cannot watch the game. I cannot watch the game. No, I want to hear him to tell me, no, you can withstand the test, right? So I'm calling all day and I figured to myself and saying, the Rebbe's not answering the phone. I said maybe he's watching the game. Highly doubt it, but.
Is that Rav Shmuel Brody, the mirror?
Huh? No, it's in Seattle. So it so happened, Rebbe was not at the game. I'm sure he also did not watch the game. He never answered the phone. So not only did I watch the game, right? Like I told you, I was homeless, I was staying from place to place. I had to drive my car somewhere where there was a Wi-Fi connection, and outside in the car like a junkie, I watched the football game, right? The Super Bowl. And my team won, right? Very big. I'm not going to say who my team was or whatever you want to ask me off camera. I'll tell you afterwards. But my team won by big margins. And even at the halftime where they were blowing out the other team, it's when it really hit me. It's time to daven mincha. At least if you're on the West Coast, for sure, it was mincha time. And I started to daven, and I realized by the time I finished, all I kept thinking about the whole entire Shemona Esrei, everything, was if the other team was going to come back on my team. I don't think I thought of Hashem one time inside that Hamidah. I was thinking about if the other team was going to win, and you know what? Afterwards, at the team won, and I sat there, and I made serious cheshbon. I said, Hashem, this is what I'm saying. This is not good for me. So I had to cry again for a whole nother son. Baruch Hashem, I haven't seen a game since. Shana, I haven't seen a game since.
Did they make it to the Super Bowl again?
And now it's going to reveal too much. But for me, for a person who mamash, he finds himself, like I said, in this Melchama Hayetzer, he finds himself in this world of Bilbulim, right? And he's bitten perhaps by the snake a little bit here and there. We all have been. That somehow he's not even sensitive enough to realize that something as trivial as watching a football game could be taking away time from Avodas Hashem. He's not even thinking about it. It's not even a thought for him at all. And if it could be a thought with something so small, we can start to evaluate the very things that we say are very big in our lives. That each person he's giving time to constantly. And he's doing this, and he's over there, and he's everybody today are shakers and movers. And we don't realize that, mamash, you're in a gullus. It's a major chesron. You don't have the ability to connect to Hashem in the highest possible way that you can because you have this, and this, and this, and this blocking you from it. The only way out is the only way that's ever worked before, is screaming out to Hashem. It doesn't matter, you can be a baki in this, you can be a baki in that, that's very, very great. But if a person cannot lower himself, we'll say lower yourself, and to realize that there's a Hashem in the world, and that Hashem gave you the Kli Zayin of a Yid, the Rebbeinu says, is tefillah. It's the ikka Kli that a person has to be able to battle any single thing that there is in the world, is tefillah. Hashem should give us strength. Hashem should give us chizuk, not only this inyan tefillah and all the other inyanim and everything else is blockings from Hashem, we should be able to slay them with the sword of tefillah. And every day to set aside time to come closer to Hashem, to speak to Hashem, have sikus chaverim, all the things that's going to get us out of this gullus, bring Mashiach. Thank you so much.